money, like $30, because that's exactly what it costs on the dark web to create a deep fake of you. Your face, your voice, your identity.
From one of my closest friends there actually, and she mentioned how she was scammed by a deep. The unfortunate thing is, if your picture is anywhere on the web, then they can make it. It's that easy. So, right, today you can generate Aadhaar cards using AI, you can
Right.
generate identity cards using AI, and that's become a big form of scam.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of ChaiNet. Today we have a very interesting episode. So let's start with some money, like $30, because that's exactly what it costs on the dark web to create a deep fake of you. Your face, your voice, your identity, all for less than price of a pizza. You must have heard of this, right? January last year, there was a case in Hong Kong where an employee at an engineering firm joined what seemed like a very normal video call, right? Like your Zoom or your Google Meet. The CFO was there. There were several colleagues on the call. Everyone looking normal, sounding normal. The employee proceeds to make 15 wire transfers, totaling of a total of $25 million. Every single person on that call was fake. Not one person, not two, the whole company, all his colleagues, his CFO, everyone. And today, I'm actually sitting down with Tarini Padmanabhuni. She's a 20-year-old founder and CEO of AXORY AI, who's building what she calls the trust layer of the internet. She's been named one of India's top 20 under 20. She's a two-time TEDx speaker, and she's dedicating her life to fighting a threat that most of us don't even know about. Very warm welcome to
Hi,
China.
hi Rachel. Thank you so much for that lovely intro.
No, that is well deserved. But let's start with your origin story, Tarini. You're 20. You're running a deepfake detection company, and that's not exactly a typical career path, right? What made you realize that this was the problem that you needed to solve?
Right. So, for some context here, right, I've been in the AI space much before the ChatGPT boom. So, really, it started when I was like around the sixth or seventh grade, was when I really started my basics. It was called machine learning then.
Right.
So, my parents were in this space, so I naturally had an inclination from a very young age, and I started. And what really pushed me to build in this specific space was actually about a year ago. I was on a solo trip to this one place, and I was talking to people, and like the real reason for this trip was for me to self discover or something like that. But the entrepreneur inside me was like, I have to ask everybody this one question, which is, what is the biggest problem that they're facing, right? So that's exactly what I did, and I expected normal answers from most people, but I got a very interesting answer from one of my closest friends there actually, and she mentioned how she was scammed by a deepfake video, and she lost. This was in Vietnam, by the way, so she lost about more than million dongs, like multiple million dongs, Vietnamese dongs, which is like I think thousands of Indian rupees, right? And when she told me this, I was first of all kind of shocked because I only thought this was like I thought somebody of my age would be able to decipher between what's real and what's fake.
Right.
But it was that level of scam that had come about, and coincidentally around this same time I was looking at opportunities that I could build in the deep tech space, and this came along because I realized that there was a problem here. So I started talking to people in this space, cybersecurity experts, companies wanting to build in this, and coincidentally I started my R&D work. So I started researching in this space, seeing what is the scope that can be done as a solution here, and I realized the kind of financial implications people are having here. By people I mean enterprises, so it's not just individuals like you and I, but enterprises are wanting the solution ASAP. So
Right.
that's when I started, and of course, started with deepfakes alone. Now we're doing anything AI generated content detection. So that's kind of been the arc for us over the last couple of months. And yeah, we're an R&D intensive team at the core, and that's what my core is, and that's what we kind of bring to the table to solve this issue at hand.
Amazing, amazing. As a normal human being, right? Till the time we get your technology and the banks and the institutes and the enterprise adopt it. So, as a layman, how do I prevent myself from my deep fake being created?
Right. So as such, I mean, right now, fortunately, when we talk about big accessible tools, there are guardrails. You cannot create deepfakes without their consent, like without the person's consent. But I think there are tools, open source tools, which people are using primarily for this purpose. And the unfortunate thing is, if your picture is anywhere on the web, then they can make it. It's that easy. So that is the unfortunate truth. And although we can't change that, I think one way we can sort of keep ourselves um, privy to all of these deep fake videos, or uh, rather understanding what is a deep fake and what is not a deep fake, is just generally keeping up to date with the latest SOTA models when it comes to generation. How do they look? There are some signature elements that are there for individual user to be able to identify it. Although every day, like the new models, they become better and better, and it becomes hard for you to identify that. I think that becomes like a sanity check for you before you verify whether any content is real or fake. But I mean, our goal again, like I told you, is to make this tool accessible for everyone. Although we're starting with enterprises right now, we're working with companies all across media, all across cybersecurity, identity verification, because today you can use a deep fake to bypass KYC, and that's a very big problem, I
Right.
feel. And even things like online listings, all of those. We cover all of this, and the idea is to make it accessible to the public. And that's what I hope I am able to deliver very soon. But yeah, this is where we're at. And I think those are
Definitely, I think.
telltale signs you can like look out for. Just be try to constantly sort of make yourself insensitive to these AI generated videos so you understand what they are and what is real.
If I'm someone listening to this, what should I actually be scared of? What's as a layman, what's the most likely way a deepfake attack would hit me personally?
Yeah. So the one thing I mentioned, right, these scams,
Right.
wherein somebody calls as a relative or a close friend, that is a very common thing. And then the other common thing we see today is people making deepfakes of celebrities, famous celebrities, saying, uh, basically pushing them to put money into these
Hmm.
scam portfolios of sorts. There are a lot of fakes on the internet today with Nara and Moti saying things like you should invest in XYZ. And
Right.
these are like the most prevalent type of deepfake scams that we see today. But right now, I think that's how it's affecting individuals on a direct level. On an indirect level, like I mentioned, KYC is a big thing.
Right.
There's also much bigger things when it comes to enterprises. So all of these are use cases, but when we talk about individuals like you and I think these are the biggest problems. Like, I think, for example, if you get a call from someone pretending to be your mother, maybe have systems in place, like have a safe word in place that you and your mother, have. Or if it's a close family member, it's generally good to have such a word in place so that any sort of scam that is happening with you, you are able to evade it. So these are general sort of safety measures to prevent yourself from being the victim of such a deepfake.
Recently there were these biometric scams where people were using Aadhaar biometrics, which is like their face readings, to get access to bank accounts and then withdraw funds. In general, Aadhaar processes over over 10 billion eKYC transactions. That's crazy scale, right? So what do you think of India as an opportunity and also as a target for such scams? You think it's bigger, like if you compare it to the overall global scene?
Sure. So I definitely like India is a very huge market. Clearly, I mean, we are the biggest population of the world. There is no doubt in the number of KYC that happens in India per year. But I think like the problem, if we're talking about as a whole, is universal. Like you see this scam happening across the universe. Uh, but definitely, India is a big use case, and you see these scams happening every now and then in India, and that is a big problem to solve for. So, as a market, I mean, India is a great place to build for when it comes to this, because you have such immense volumes of these scams to be able to solve for, and to be able to capture that market is obviously, like a big deal. So, all of this said and done, I would say that while the problem is universal, I think India is a great place to be building for.
Mhm. Fair, fair. I think, yeah, as you said, we're a big market. And also, I think that as far as targets, also, it's a very easy, even for, for these deepfakes, India is a very big target, right? So that also means that we need this technology as urgently as possible. So, are there any since you're working so deeply in the banking sector, in the BFSI sector, are there any vulnerabilities that you see are there today which none of us know about?
Yeah, I think as a sort of corollary to the deepfake thing as a whole, what we have extended our purview to, which is AI generated content detection, right? Today you can generate Aadhaar cards using AI, you can
Right.
generate identity cards using AI, and that's become a big form of scam today. Um, very huge. People don't realize this. So deepfakes again, I think people are getting to know this is AI generated content related scams are people something that people don't know about yet, and that is a huge thing. That is going to sort of disrupt this industry. Is already disrupting the industry. So
Right.
that is what we're solving for as well. So some of the people that we work with, we work on this lens of detecting AI generated media. Uh, through our own models again. But the idea was simple. Like when we started off with deepfakes, it was just for that. And once I got deep into this space, I realized that this problem is much bigger. And naturally, we
Right.
extended our purview, and that's what we're doing right now. So this is something that's actually very, I think I'd like to believe a lot of people don't know about it. So I would love to bring awareness to that and let them know that companies like us, AXORY AI, are solving it.
Right, right, right. And they're still stuck in trying to solve these things. And actually, there are deepfake detectors in the market, right? But they say that they have 99% accuracy in the lab, and let's say 60% accuracy in the real world, right? But if you think of 60% accuracy, it's like if you flip a coin that has 50% accuracy, that it'll be heads, right? So it's 60% accuracy is nothing. Um why is it so difficult, and how is Axer AI, approaching the whole process differently?
Right. Yeah, I mean, 60% accuracy is really not a product at the end of the day.
Exactly.
You're not really giving any solution. It's just a test that you tried out a project. But uh, I think the way we are solving it differently, again, like I have to emphasize on this, right? It's such a research intensive space, and I've been in
Right.
this space for so long now. I know, like, as compared to someone who's just entering the space, I know a lot more than they would. I have the insights. My team has been wired to solve these problems. We have certain processes in place, systems and processes in place to be able to tackle the latest SOTA model. So I think at the core of it, if you look at it in first principles, it's just the bricks of it are basically just your systems and processes that you have in place. Again, like I meant, on a high level, yeah, it's research, it's development, really have heavily doubling down on research, like having
Right.
sleepless nights just trying to get that accuracy benchmark that you have. But outside of that, I think at the core of it, it's just you having those systems and processes in place.
Correct, right. Yeah, that makes sense, and I'm sure you guys are working day and night to get this up and running. Tarini, like if you're so young, right? You started very early, and in an industry which is evolving so fast, right? I'm sure you're an inspiration to a lot of people. How do you like if let's say there's a college student right now in their third year, fourth year, uh, they want to follow on your footsteps. What should they do?
Right. Firstly, this is a very risky thing I did because, at least in the conventional sense of risk, right? Because I left my placements, I officially signed out of placements, which is why my college, or which is why I was allowed to take my last year off for pursuing my startup.
Right.
Um, so it's you have to take that decision because I feel in colleges, I come from an engineering college, so I can speak for it. Placements are the biggest thing, and your 3 years of college lead up to placements, right? For
Of
most
course.
people. So you have to get rid of that placement dream. You have to know that that's not your path. First, if you're clear with that, I think the rest will naturally follow. But that's a big roadblock most people have. They say I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to do this, I want to do that. I think by now we all know it's not a glamorous world. It's obviously not, but
Right.
uh, that, at least for students, since that was your question, that question has to be clear. Am I ready to completely cut off placements? Am I ready to get off the job path and completely devote my time into building this vision of mine? If that question is clear, I think rest all is clear. For me, that question was clear, and I
Right.
went for it. Of course, you have to, satisfy your other stakeholders in case, especially if you're like a under 18, like you have to talk to your parents and get them.
Right.
Yeah, honestly, in India, I would say even a lot of over 18 kids, like you have to, right? And there are obligations, but if you're able to and you show conviction and you show proof, I think most things work out, is my opinion. This is what I can tell you out of my experience. But the biggest question is always, can I remove that big thing I've dreamt of for these many years and just devote all my time into this? And then it works
Right.
out.
Super. Great, Tarini. It has been an eye-opening session, and honestly, also a little terrifying. But before we wrap up, where can people find you, learn more about Axory AI, and how do they follow your work?
For sure. So, if there's any companies that are interested in the space of identity verification, or any companies that have any form of listing wherein fake listings can happen, so be it
Right.
food delivery companies or even companies in the space of cybersecurity that want to reach out to us, or media companies, all of these, do hit me up on at tarini@axory.ai. That's my mail. Or if you're a person just wanting some advice, how do I upskill in AI, or how do I get into this race, or just want to join, our vision at Axory, do reach out again on tarini@axory.ai, or maybe my LinkedIn. Tarini Sai Padmanabhuni is my name, or X Tarini underscore Axory. I think these are good enough.
Absolutely. They'll all three of these. We'll share all of these with the stream and wherever the stream goes. Amazing. Thank you so much, Tarini. Everyone, if this episode itself did not make you think your digital security, you might be in trouble. But yeah, Tarini is correct that the deepfake threat is not something in the future. It's already here, and it's scary unless and until you take some measures, which we discussed earlier in the session. And but thankfully there are people like Tarini who are building defenses against these, and I think we're going to need them more and more. And as Tarini said, below the stream you will find links to her LinkedIn, to her email, to her Twitter. You can reach out to her if you would want to join her vision, get some help, or if you're a company or an enterprise looking to, detect fake signups, detect fake content, or detect deep fakes in general. Let's all get a little smarter about the synthetic media in the world we're living in. Thanks for tuning in to ChaiNet. I am Rachit, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Until then, stay curious, stay skeptical, and verify that video call to make sure that that person is who you think actually is. Thank you once again, Tarini.
Thank you.
Bye
Thank you
bye.
so much.